Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into all of the announcements coming out of Disney Plus Day on Friday. Now, some of them were pretty interesting, some of them were and some of them were, wait, what? They were all pretty interesting, though, overall. I think one of the biggest things is what didn't happen, which there was hardly any news about Star Wars, which we're going to get into in just a few moments. But let's start off by talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, there is a fan event going on in a few hours here in Los Angeles, produced by Sony, that is said to debut the second and or final trailer for the movie. It's also being rumored that the entire cast will be there, that this is where they're going to make all their big announcements. This is where we're going to find out if Tobey Maguire's in the film, if Andrew Garfield's in the film, if Charlie Cox is in the film. This is supposed to be the big event. Now, other things that have been coming out is that the trailer they show today will be an exclusive to them, and then they will attach it to Ghostbusters. And if you want to see it, you have for a week or so, you have to go see Ghostbusters to see the trailer before they'll release it up on social media stuff. Again, there's all of this is rumors at this point. We really don't know what they're doing. And the problem is that a lot of sites out there need to fill content. So they spend time talking all about this stuff. Ooh, I hear this. Ooh, I hear that. And it's really hard to tell what are legitimate sources and what are just BS. So this movie in particular seems to have just a ton of either leaks or BS, depending on how you look at it. I mean, we'll know on December 27th for sure what was leaks and what was BS. But at the moment, it's just constantly there's all these things going on that, well, they're going to have this in there and that in there. And I think it's going to, I think if they give us 10 to 15% of what the leaks have said, then things going into Multiverse of Madness are going to be absolutely insane. And the problem is that we now have 5 months between the movies, where before we had 2. So because it moved from February to May, we're going to have all that time with all of these YouTubers and websites and stuff. And I realize that I am technically part of that, but I'm not out trying to break news. I'm not out, posting the leaked photos and stuff like that. I'm just here talking about it with you guys. So, but they're going to have their content to fill, and in doing so, they can't just sit down and go, "Oh, today we're going to take a deep dive into this character or that character." They can't do that. They need the breaking stuff. They need the, oh my God, this character is going to be in the movie, or that character is going to be in the movie. Oh, they're going to introduce Molten Man for the first time. They need those kind of stories to get clicks. And it's the whole world is becoming click-based, like anything that's on YouTube, anything that's on streaming needs to have likes and hits to keep going. It's just the way of the world. For example, if you're listening to this right now, I would like it if you'd hit the subscribe button or the click the like button, or whatever it is you've got in front of you, because that's how we judge how I'm doing. That's how my bosses go, yeah, let's keep doing this show. Well, they're the same way. They have their advertising money. They have the different things like that, hits and likes and thumbs ups or whatever you want to call them. That's all crucial. So these sites will do anything to get clicks, to viewers. And in doing so, they at times might tell a story that isn't as sourced as necessary or as possible. And you end up getting some of these rumors and leaks that turn out to be completely untrue. And then you sit there going, well, wait, where did that come from? Who came up with that? And no one ever comes back and goes, you know what? I was wrong about X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry. No, they come back and they go, of the 37 things I told you about this movie, I got one right, so yay me. It's kind of ridiculous, but this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, is just a ton of these kind of leaks and stuff. And where some of them I can see, I mean, like the photos that came out last week with Maguire and Garfield and Cox, they looked pretty good to me. And the history behind them, of them being put up and then taken down immediately and stuff like that, those seem good. But then again, we're all getting sophisticated here. You know, it's getting easier and easier to create the false narrative, to create the ruse and the subterfuge to get people to believe things. You know, if you Photoshop an image and it's easy to tell it's Photoshopped, then some people then, well, maybe they put it out just to throw us off. I mean, it really is to the point where nobody believes anything anymore, yet they want to believe everything. It's really strange. But so hopefully it's not the case that they're going to drop this trailer and then go exclusive for a week or so everybody doesn't get to see it, because what's going to happen is someone's going to go into a theater, and if it is attached to Ghostbusters and then someone's going to go in with their phone, and I'm not saying do this, but someone is going to, and then we're going to get these shaky versions online. And it's a horrible way to release a trailer, because it's going to get out there, and Sony should just put it out. You know, the film is a month away as of tomorrow. So 1 month tomorrow. So if they want to do it tonight on here and then release it tomorrow, I think that makes a lot of sense. But if they're going to hold it for a week and make you go see Ghostbusters, I don't know if I was going to go see Ghostbusters. I mean, I was thinking about it, but yeah. The mouse, eh? Actually, I don't think it's the mouse. I think it's Sony. Sony is the one marketing the film. When it comes to Spider-Man, it's Sony's marketing and Sony's distribution, not Marvel. So I don't think Marvel would do that. It's definitely Sony on this one. So, but yeah. But today we are going to talk about Disney Plus, the announcements and stuff. So we're going to go about that in just a minute. Let me remind you guys that right after this is going to be Black Comic Universe. I had to think about that for a minute. Then Minute to Skim It. And then Kyle and I will be back to talk about some new comics that are hitting shops this week. We do it a little differently than we used to. We've read the comics we are talking about, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So, what happened to your Falcon Bucky poster? I took it down. I've got some other ideas of what I'm going to do with this wall. I just haven't had a chance to do it, but it was time. I think the Falcon Winter Soldier poster had been up there long enough. I still have it. It's rolled up behind me. So it may make a return one day, but for now, it's going to go away. And originally I thought about getting posters for each show as it came out, but that just became A, cost prohibitive because this was a nice canvas print, but B, they become available so late in the show that you're usually in like a 6-episode show, you're getting it on episode 5. So they're not putting these out early enough to make it worthwhile to have the posters. So I'm going to do something else with this wall. I just haven't decided exactly what. I may put up some of the comics I've written, so you guys can be reminded that I actually am a writer. So, all right, let's start going through the Disney Plus Day. And I'm going to talk first about, again, what we didn't get. Just an FYI, I've been calling you Dan the Man for a bit. Okay. I can live with that. I was going to offer you a framed photo of me. I won't say it would last forever, JD, but if you send me one, I'd put it up for at least one show. Okay, so the big news that came out yesterday may be tied to the fact that there was hardly any Star Wars announcements during the Disney Plus day. I mean, it almost felt like they forgot they had Star Wars. They talked about Under the Helmet, the story of the Boba Fett, which I had already watched. I woke up really early on that morning, and all that stuff was already on there. So I started watching. I watched Under the Helmet. I watched the behind-the-scene footage or the assembled thing for Shang-Chi, and I saw the Hawkeye Legends. And I think all that was before 8 a.m. my time. So that was an interesting bit. By the way, if you haven't seen the Under the Helmet, it's really cool because one of the people who co-designed that character, and originally he was going to be one of a group of super stormtroopers, and then they went, that's cost prohibitive. Let's just go with one and we'll make him a bounty hunter. But one of the creators on it was Joe Johnston, who went on to, he worked for Lucasfilms for a long time. He went on to be the director of The Rocketeer, the Wolfman reboot with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. And of course, he directed Captain America, the First Avenger. I can't get a character that throws himself into a pit of monsters for no reason. I don't think he meant to throw himself in, but yeah. Good point. I think Boba Fett was more marketing than actual material. We had so little of Boba Fett to actually go by, but there was the hype for the toy. They were introducing him at parades and stuff like that well before the movie ever came out. He showed up in the holiday special, and then we get like 7 minutes of him on screen. For all the hype for Boba Fett, we got very little. And and then he's a doofus. He gets hit by a blind Han Solo, bounces off of Jabba's barge, and then drops into the Sarlacc pit. Really, he wasn't even a decent character from what we saw of him in the live action until he showed up in Mandalorian. Now, there's a lot of comics and novels that do great stuff with Boba Fett. They tried to make Jango Fett a thing with Baby Boba, but Baby Boba. That just sounds funny, Baby Boba. Anyway, reminds me of the Puppy Monkey Baby from the old Super Bowl commercial. Now, at least Derp Maul took out a legit Jedi before he got himself sliced up. Yeah. That's the thing with the Star Wars villains, is that they create some very cool-looking villains and then have a real hard time actually doing anything with them. But so Boba Fett Under the Helmet is a pretty good little documentary. You can watch that. It's only like 20 minutes long, 21 minutes long. Then we got some, I don't even want to call it a sizzle reel. It was just Deborah Chow and Ewan McGregor talking about the Obi-Wan series with a bunch of concept art. We didn't get any actual footage. We got concept art, and the thing's already done. They're in post-production on it. They couldn't have put together a clip or something. And not only that, there's all these other series that they have talked about. There's Andor, there's Mandalorian 2, there's Ahsoka Tano. There's all these things going on for Star Wars. And all we get is an Under the Helm for Boba Fett. We don't even get new footage, not a new trailer for Book of Boba Fett. And we get, a talking head thing on Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's it. And I know there was a lot of speculation afterwards that maybe Star Wars was in a mess because, you know, Patty Jenkins is, you know, they've halted production on Rogue Squadron, and they're worried. I mean, there's some people think Patty Jenkins quit. Others say that they're just having a disagreement on the story. And I know a lot of people were speculating that maybe Kathleen Kennedy was out, and that that Star Wars must be an absolute mess, and Kennedy's on her way out. And then it was announced, I think, yesterday that Kathleen Kennedy just re-upped her contract for another 3 years. So, I don't know what the hell is going on with Disney when Star Wars. It's really strange because you have this event. And now, last year they had the Investors Day meeting. That took place in December. So we're coming up around that again. Maybe there's another one coming up. I don't know when the Investors Day meeting is. But if it is, and they're going to do a big presentation, then maybe they once again just roll everything out for that. And this was more just to get people. This wasn't the big thing. This was more, well, let's just get a bunch of people on. Because even the Marvel stuff, where it was decent announcements, they weren't huge, like the Disney, the Investor Day meeting. But JD says, maybe Patty Jenkins' political views don't line up with Disney. Well, we have to keep in mind that this is not the first movie Patty Jenkins was on and left for creative differences. She was also the director on Thor: The Dark World. She was the director they picked to do Thor 2. And they couldn't mesh with her either. So, yeah, maybe Patty just doesn't work well in the Disney structure. I mean, Thor: The Dark World wasn't even Disney at the time. That was the Marvel structure, but it's possible. Now, this could I mean, there's no official announcement that she's left that I've seen. I could be wrong, but all I've heard is that the production's been slow, you know, while they're working on trying to come up with a story. But there's so many great Rogue One novels out there. You could pick any of them, tweak them to fit into whatever your current canon is, and just run with that. You know, find an actor to play young Wedge and go that way. Just a snub at Disney and Gina Carano. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to get into the Gina Carano thing. There's now rumors that she's going to be back for Mandalorian season 4. So I don't know. Rumors are insane. I prefer dealing with real things. So, okay. Let's move on over to Marvel because that's where the real news came out. And again, it wasn't a lot of news. I mean, they gave us this sizzle reel, which I thought was interesting because it focused on all the shows that are already on Disney Plus first. We got WandaVision, we had Falcon and Winter Soldier, we had Loki, and What If. And that alone was pretty damn impressive if you think about it. I mean, those are 4 shows in 1 year on Disney Plus from Marvel, and they were all so different. You know, I mean, WandaVision was really kind of crazy and unique. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier was a little more true Marvel, a little more grounded Marvel. And then Loki was much more on the cosmic side of Marvel, but it was also kind of out there with introducing Kang, which I think a lot of people thought they might. But then again, why would you do that on a TV show? And then we got What If, which was a lot more fun. By the end of it, it was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. So, and we know there's a season 2 of that coming. And then we are, a week away from Hawkeye? Yeah, today's Tuesday, so midnight, Tuesday, Wednesday. And by the way, I should announce it here now. Next week, because of Thanksgiving weekend, there'll be no show on Thanksgiving. But because of that, I'm going to go ahead and do the Hawkeye spoiler show on Wednesday. So you'll be warned. There'll be spoiler banners up, but I will watch both episodes because they're going to drop 2. I'll watch both of them before the show on Wednesday, and then we'll talk the hell out of Hawkeye, which I'm really eager for. I love that. But yeah. And Hawkeye, we did get a scene from Hawkeye, which was nice. We've had the trailers, and they're all cut together with the music, and it's really cool, and it has that Die Hard vibe. But the Hawkeye scene extended out the car chase. You know, we see the Charger or whatever it is that they could take, but they take the big Cadillac, and as they're racing along and they pull into the arrows, and it's obvious at that point that Hawkeye's hearing has been screwed up, which we know is supposed to happen or likely going to happen, because in the comics the character ends up deaf. He has 2 different events that mess up his hearing. The first one was from the very first Hawkeye miniseries, where he was fighting a character I think named Oddball. Yeah, it was. And that's where we meet Mockingbird for the first time, stuff like that. I remember reading that in the 80s when I was a kid. But the Hawkeye the clip was cool because we see the interactions between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. And we can see there's going to be a good rapport between them. And then since then, they had the Good Morning America clip that dropped, which is now on Marvel's YouTube page. And in it, they just have that moment where this little kid, the mother and the little kid, they're out walking, and mother's like, "Look, son, honey, superheroes!" And of course, Hawkeye thinks it's him. And then he runs past, and there's a bunch of cosplayers. And one of them is a woman with a bow and arrow, and she's like, "Hey, look, that one's you." And Clint's like, "That's Katniss Everdeen, okay?" And then Kate Bishop starts telling him, "Well, you know your problem is Brandy." And he goes, "No, my problem is," and he lays out the plot for the series. And she goes, "No, your problem is branding." So that was pretty cool. JD says, there's an element of action movies that always left out. MFers are firing machine guns and their hearing doesn't get affected. Yeah, that is true. If you've ever fired a real gun, they're loud. Egad. And yeah, so I'm not surprised if all action stars weren't deaf. That would be, pretty accurate. But so that's the Hawkeye. We got that trailer, and it looks cool. Again, it's got that real Die Hard vibe, and it might be the whole Christmas thing, and the talking to the camera, which were 2 things they do in the trailer. They got Andy Williams' song, and then they've got him actually kind of talking to the camera, sort of. Not really breaking the fourth wall, but talking out loud. And that was cool. And I could see Jeremy Renner being the John McClane type. So that was interesting. I think it's going to be a cool series. I really do. It's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, which is weird because before the trailers dropped, I was like, "Oh yeah, and a Hawkeye one." And this just looks really cool to me. So we're going to be getting that next week. Plus, it'll be nice to have one show a week that I dedicate to what's dropping on Disney Plus again. It's been a few weeks now, so we'll get back into that groove. We'll have Hawkeye and through Christmas, and then after Christmas we'll have Book of Boba Fett, and I'm hoping there's something ready to go right after. Now, it might be one of these shows we're about to talk about. Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to Hawkeye a lot, and he is the one Avenger from the original movies that didn't really get his moment in the sun. So I definitely look forward to that. Now, let's start looking at the first thing we got, which surprised me that it was the first, was Moon Knight. And I wonder if that means that Moon Knight is going to be the first series that they drop. Will that be the one we get? and it looked crazy. I mean, it felt a lot like a Netflix series. It felt a lot like the Daredevil and Punisher series from Netflix that were on Netflix. And I am absolutely great with that because I do love those series over there. Now, the idea is that Marvel says Moon Knight is a new globe-trotting action-adventure series featuring a complex vigilante who suffers from dissociative identity disorder. The multiple identities who live inside of him find themselves thrust into a deadly war of the gods against the backdrop of modern and ancient Egypt. Now, Moon Knight is being directed by Mohammed Diab, and they're just saying it's coming in 2022. We don't have a specific date. Now, we know that Oscar Isaac from a ton of movies, but Star Wars, is playing Moon Knight. And Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant and Mark Spector. So we got all of those in there. But also, we're going to get Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke is in the series. And they haven't said what he's playing yet. But he's mentioned that it's kind of a David Koresh type character. And looking at Moon Knight's villains, there's one more recent one named the Sun King. And it would make sense with what I just read that it's a battle of the gods. So have Khonshu versus the Sun King. I think there's a pretty good chance that that's a character Ethan Hawke is going to play. And there's another, they're also going to introduce the character of Midnight Man, which was just a throwaway costumed character from the comics. He might be just kind of an early villain for Moon Knight to take on. Might be the inspiration for him to put on a costume. Don't know. But we're going to get Midnight Man. I don't remember the actor's name. I could try to look it up real quick, but I'll look it up during the break and see if... and then tell you guys. But Jay says, I love Archer characters and Hawkeye was done wrong in the first Avenger movie. Really excited for Moon Knight. Yep, I agree on both those parts, Jay. Archers tend to be my favorite characters. You know, my favorite DC character is Green Arrow. Now, Hawkeye is one of my favorites at Marvel, but Daredevil is my absolute favorite. But I do love Moon Knight too, so... I love the street level characters. I don't want the superpower powerhouses. I don't need Sentry or Superman, or those aren't my favorites. I like the ground level guys, the ones who can be anybody. You know, you don't have to be, cosmic radiation or buy a gamma bomb or something like that. So I like the street level guys who get their ass kicked as much as they kick. So I'm a big fan of that. All right. I will look that up, Moon Knight, the actor who's going to be playing Midnight Man, while we go to a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute. Kyle? Okay. Kyle may have fallen asleep at the wheel. Okay, well, he's probably actually working on about 6 other shows at the same time. So we will keep going until Kyle comes back, or we'll just skip the break. Let's move on to the next show they talked about, which was She-Hulk. Now, the She-Hulk, we got a couple things out of that. Is there a 10:30 man or a dinner time man? 10:30 man would be a little redundant. Dinner time man, though, might be Condiment King from DC. That would be a good another name for him as Dinner Time Man, because he's got the ketchup and the mustard. Disconnecting, give me 2 minutes. Okay. But the thing to go with on the She-Hulk thing is they gave us a new logo, which was almost like nip tuck. You know, we went from the Savage She-Hulk to a more streamlined with a background of New York or of the city. I think it's Los Angeles, actually, because I think the show takes place in Los Angeles. But we got a couple scenes of Tatiana Maslany doing yoga and a few other things. Just talking about how she's a normal, and then we see her kind of hulked out, but we never see the face. And that makes sense because the face is usually where CGI characters fall apart. And this might be a little too early in the process for them to show the face of the character right now. We see her in a dress and the green leg and the green hand. We see her in the sports outfit, but we don't see her facially. And again, I think that might be just because they're not that far in production. Now, I have no doubt that it's going to look great because, I mean, they've been doing it with Mark Ruffalo for all these years now. They've got this. That's not a problem. But we didn't get to see the face, and that's, so like I said, I think it's just production. But the thing I did like about it was there's that moment that it almost looks like they're doing an old lawyer commercial, like a 1970s style lawyer commercial. And you've got her in that tweed looking brown suit saying, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." And Mark Ruffalo is standing behind her. And the outfit he's in, the pose he's in, and the sideburns, it's Bill Bixby. It's from the old Incredible Hulk TV series. The line, the pose, all of that looks, I mean, it is that scene where Bill Bixby, Bruce Banner, says, well, David Banner in the series, "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." And the person he's standing next to is reporter Jack McGee. So there's something weird there that because why would you have that scene? So unless she's having dreams or just something, I don't know. I haven't even a good guess. But so all right, we're going to do a quick commercial now. We'll be right back after this.
They say it, and it's true, that everything is getting faster. You're not getting any younger, and time is the single resource that you can never get back or get any more of. So why are you wasting time wandering around a comic book shop looking for a new storyline to get hooked on?
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skin It. Yeah!
Spend 1 hour with Miss Jen and Beam, and they'll give you the leg up on all the latest books hitting shelves this week. Your pull list will be brimming with the hottest new books before your friends even hear about them.
Susan Provenance of Secrets.
This is The Heathens. I read Wolverine number 17.
It's Minute to Skim It, every Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
All right, welcome back. We're talking about the Disney Plus Day announcements, and Jay makes a good point. He says, other than Miss Marvel, did we see the front of any character? And no, we didn't really get a good look at Moon Knight, and we didn't get a good look at She-Hulk, and those were the only three characters that we get to see. So, I mean, we got a good look at Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, but none of the new the three series that have yet be scheduled. Now, Midnight Man is the actor playing Midnight Man, or they're thinking he's playing Midnight Man, is Gaspard Ulliel. Yeah. I need pronunciation guys for some of these names. I really do. But he's likely playing Anton Mogart, a.k.a. Midnight Man, is what it's being said. So now we're going to get back to She-Hulk. Now, She-Hulk's going to be huge, but it's going to be a longer series. It's going to be more like 9 or 10 episodes. I've heard both. And it's going to be half-hour episodes like WandaVision. It's going to be in that mode. Besides Tatiana Maslany, we know Mark Ruffalo is going to be back as Bruce Banner. We've seen that. We know that Tim Roth is going to come back as the Abomination. We got to see him in Shang-Chi. Other casting, we know Josh Segarra, who played Prometheus and Adrian Chase on Arrow, is supposed to be in the series. We don't know at what role yet. Renee Elise Goldsberry, who was in Hamilton, is going to be there as somebody named Amelia. And Jamila Jamil from The Good Place will be playing Titania. So that's the cast we know so far. Now, one of the had a brain fry there for a second. Had something I wanted to add to that, and I'm not remembering it now. On the She-Hulk, but yeah, it's going to be half-hour episodes, so it'll be a little different, and it's going to be more of a comedy. What they say is that She-Hulk follows Jennifer, a lawyer who specializes in superhuman-oriented legal cases. She-Hulk will welcome a host of Marvel characters in the series, including the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, the Abomination, played by Tim Roth. The new comedy series coming into Disney Plus in 2022 is written and by Jessica Gao and directed by Kate Coiro and Anu Valia. Again, these names are killing me. But that's the other thing, is that there's supposed to be a lot of guest stars. A lot of characters coming in and going out. I mean, you can almost think of this as being kind of the Ally McBeal of the MCU. And again, there's rumors of Daredevil in that, or Charlie Cox in this because of Matt Murdock and stuff like that. So we're going to expect to see a bunch of characters. Some of them will probably be debuting. This, maybe their first look at these characters debuting in the series, but they probably won't be the big images. Imagine Pace Pot Beat getting sued. There you go. Though he does like the name Trapster better now. But yeah, Pace Pot Pete would be a great character for them to bring in. So yeah, that's exactly what the series is.
Hey Dan, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, because if She-Hulk is successful, which I imagine it will be, as everything else they've done have been, do you think they will have now that Eros is in the Marvel universe, that they will
No,
they will put the two together? Maybe not do that storyline, but put the two together as a, because they are characters that would tie Eternals into other things now.
No, I don't think they will. I think, I don't think Harry Styles' budget would be for television. And I could be wrong on that, but because, they are getting like Nick Fury, or they are getting Samuel L. Jackson to do TV and Ben Mendelsohn and stuff like that. But I think it's a sensitive area that Marvel won't really want to get into. They would get into in the comics, but I don't see them dealing with that in the TV series. Disney it's Disney. And they shy away from a lot of stuff. We got the first sex scene in Eternals, and it was barely a sex scene, and everybody was freaking out about it. So I don't see that storyline coming up at all. Now, would they introduce the two characters together? I doubt it'll be on the show. It might happen in like an Avengers movie or in a movie, but I don't see it happening on the TV series. I think it's Star Fox is a character that needs a lot of explanation, and dropping him into a half-hour TV episode would be a bit much. and putting them in for a series of episodes would be expensive. So it's just my thought on that. I don't think we're going to get that. There was something else about the She-Hulk. Now I cannot remember. That's going to bug me. But we will move on from that, and we'll look at Miss Marvel was the next one we saw, which gave us a pretty decent trailer. It's probably the best trailer for the Marvel stuff in that we got a good look at Kamala being played by Iman Vellani. But it opens up a lot of questions, too, because her power seems to be changing. In the comics, she does what they call embiggen. She can make her fists giant and her feet big and stretch out. And she's kind of Mr. Fantastic in a lot of ways. And they're changing that. It almost looks like they're changing her more into almost a Green Lantern type, where she can kind of create energy fields like fists and stuff around her. But we haven't had a really good look at her yet. Now, I think the reason they might be doing that is because Fantastic Four is on the schedule. It'll be coming soon, and I don't think they want to steal Mr. Fantastic's thunder by having a stretchy person already in the MCU. So that's my thought on that. I think we will get a definite power change. We probably will also get an origin change for her, which we can see part of already. We see her being blasted by cosmic energy or some kind of energy in her cosplay costume. And the reason they're doing that is pretty obvious, because the Inhumans sucked. The Inhumans has a really bad stink to it. So I don't think they're going to introduce the Inhumans anytime soon. And that's her backstory, is the Terrigen Mist gave her powers. So expect to see a different power, more in line with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau, who the character will then go on to star in the Marvels with anyway. So expect her to be more in line with their powers, at least the source of their powers. Jay says, as long as they don't pull an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and actually have these characters in the movies, I'll be happy. Yeah, well, we already know that Miss Marvel is going to be in the Marvels. I expect some of them will make the jump over. But then the difference with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was the split that was going on between Marvel Television and Marvel Studios, where Agent Carter was basically a Marvel Studio. Agent Carter was a Marvel Studio project that was on TV, which is why it's still considered canon. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was not. That was something that Bob Iger thought would be a good idea. He gave it to Marvel Television to run with. And where I enjoyed the series, it's not canon anymore. And, Agent Coulson's still dead. So I don't think we'll ever have that cross in, which also allows actors to be pulled from that series and used again, though, which is kind of cool. Because there's some actors in there that were really good that, Adrian Pasdar, Kyle MacLachlan, all appeared in that series. And if Marvel wants to use them, they can, because they don't consider Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. canon. So Miss Marvel is being described as introduced viewers to Kamala, a 16-year-old Pakistani-American from Jersey City, an aspiring artist and an avid gamer, and a voracious fan fiction scribe. She's a huge fan of the Avengers, and one in particular, Captain Marvel. But Kamala has always struggled to find her place in the world. That is, until she gets superpowers like the heroes she always looked up to. Iman Vellani stars as Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel, episodes directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, Mira Menon, and Sharmeen Obad Chinoy. I feel bad when I do those names that bad. I really do, because... Okay. Do you think they should have kept Inhumans on the movie slate instead of making a TV show? I think they should never have hired What's his name? Is it Scott Brick? Scott. The gentleman they got to put together Inhumans was the same guy. Scott Buck, I think, is his name. He was the same guy that did the first season of Iron Fist, and he's the same guy that did the last season of Dexter. Which, any of those you think are good? Yeah. I think Inhumans could have been a good series. They had Anson Mount, who was really good as Black Bolt. They had the guy from Game of Thrones. They had some good stuff, potential there, and it was absolutely horribly done. So, yeah, I think they could have done TV. They could have done movies. Either way, and it was just slaughtered, and in such a bad way that it'll be a long time before Kevin Feige wants to do Inhumans. All right, we're starting to pick up the pace a little bit here, but luckily, most of what we got after that were just announcements. There wasn't really anything to go with them. We got probably the most shocking announcement was that they're basically going back to the well on X-Men 97. We're going to get to the animated series from the 90s that everybody seems to love. Though I know a lot of people who've gone back and watched it that didn't watch it at the time, so they don't have the nostalgia for it, but they go back and watch it now because it's on Disney Plus. And it's like, wow, that's really bad. But I know a lot of people love it. They love the theme song. I can take it or leave it, but we're going to get a new season of X-Men 97 picking up from where the original one left off. So that's making a lot of fans happy, and that's very cool. We got the announcement of What If Season 2, which we already knew was going to happen. And from what we know is that the character of Captain Carter will come back. Hopefully, we'll figure out what's going on with the Hydra Stomper. I mean, hopefully that tag at the end seemed to be more than a tease. It seems like that's going to be something for the next season. But are we going to get all the characters back? Are we going to get the Guardians of the Multiverse again? Are they going to go a new direction? I still think they rushed to have the Watcher involved and pulling everybody together. I would like to have seen them do 2 seasons before doing that. But now we got to see what they're going to do with season 2 and if we'll get a season 3. But so that was announced. There was confirmation. We've known this was coming. There's been lots of rumors about it, but it's nice to get confirmation that the Echo series is officially happening. That's Alaqua Cox playing Maya Lopez, and she's going to debut in Hawkeye. So we're going to see her as the character in just a couple weeks. Now, I don't know what episode she debuts in, but we're going to get to see her before the end of the year. And then she's going to get her own series. And that's another one that's getting a lot of rumors because the character is so innately tied to both Daredevil and Kingpin that there's talk that maybe those characters will end up in the series, in which case the rumors Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio again. Now, it's interesting that Vincent D'Onofrio tweeted out just yesterday that he's looking forward to seeing Spider-Man No Way Home, but he is definitely not in that movie, which I find a lot of these denials interesting because they're very specific denials. Oh, no, I'm not in that movie. Well, what about Doctor Strange? What about the Hawkeye series? What about, he doesn't come out and say, no, I'm not playing Wilson Fisk again, or I haven't suited up again, or anything like that. He's very specific to, I am not in that movie. So I find it fascinating that these denials are very, very specific. Now, the Echo series, again, should be a lot of fun. I don't know how quickly it'll come, but they also announced Spider-Man Freshman Year, which fascinates me because we got him in his sophomore year. He was already in the suit. So really, the only thing before that would be like his origin story and when things first get started. So are we going to see what happens to this Uncle Ben? Because we know he existed. There's like a reference to him on the luggage, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, are we gonna get the death of Uncle Ben in an animated series to tie into the Marvel Universe? And will Tom Hiddleston, not Hiddleston, that would be interesting, Tom Holland be voicing Spider-Man? Because he didn't come back to voice Spider-Man for What If, but is this something they've worked out with Sony to do? Or is this something on their own and they won't be able to get Tom Holland? Definitely want more information on that. We've got got at least a teaser for the I Am Groot, or the image for the I Am Groot series. It looks like it's going to be the origin story of Groot. You know, we're going to find out about his home planet and the rest of his people and how he hooks up with Rocket, which I know a lot of people, that's going to be awesome. And it really depends on how they do the artwork. If they do it somewhat realistic looking, then it's going to look like it just fits right in. But if it's more cartoony or animated, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that. The image they showed of Groot looked much more in line with the movies. Also, they did the thing for they did a poster for the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, which we should get by the end of 2022. Which, from what I understand, will actually tie into the movies and stuff. So that's a big thing, and it's actually James Gunn doing it. So we got a card for Ironheart, which showed like a steel heart type thing behind her. We got confirmation that Catherine Hahn is going to be doing a Agatha Harkness series, and we got a title for it, Agatha House of Harkness. Now, the House of thing feels a little overused, but you know, with the House of Dragons and stuff like that. But yeah, we're gonna get Agatha, but more Catherine Hahn, and Jack Schaefer, who wrote WandaVision, is coming back for that. So she's the one that wrote Agatha Harkness up till now. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if it's going to be the WandaVision format of the shorter episodes, but more, or if it'll be like a 6-episode series. Harkness Falls. That I actually like that. That would be a good title. We got announcement of the one thing that I'm like on is the announced Marvel Zombies series. I'm not a zombie guy. I never have been. I didn't read the Marvel Zombies books when they came out. I know the story of it. I watched the episode. There was some fun stuff in it, but in the comics, the Marvel Zombie stuff focused more on the zombies and was less about the survivors and stuff. I don't know if they're going to do more of that, or if we pick up where, you know, Thanos having all the stones and being zombified. That's going to be really interesting to see, but where it's probably the lowest on my list, because I really don't care about zombies. I'm not a zombie guy, but good for them that Marvel Zombie fans will be getting an animated series. And of course, we got our first sort of look at Secret Invasion. We got a new logo that went from being just red to very Skrull looking. And we got this photo of Nick Fury, or Samuel L. Jackson, that looks as old and grizzled as you possibly can get. He's got this huge beard. He's not wearing his eye patch, which he's not wearing at the end of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is interesting. Yeah, makes you wonder. Maybe he's been gone since then. Maybe Talos has been playing Nick Fury since the end of Winter Soldier. Because we're getting Samuel L. Jackson, we're getting Ben Mendelsohn, But there's a huge cast has already been announced for this, including Olivia Colman and the mother of dragons, Emily Clark. So it's going to be the big series. It says the series stars Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Ben Mendelsohn as Skrull Talos, characters who first met in Marvel Studios' Captain America. The crossover comic event series showcases a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls who have been infiltrating Earth for years. What they don't do with this write-up is they don't say it's coming in 2022. So expect this one probably isn't until the year after. That's probably a 2023. So that's going to be a while. But all right, that's the rundown. That was all the stuff that dropped on Disney Plus Day. There's some things to look forward to, a lot of exciting stuff. We got our first look at She-Hulk and Moon Knight and Miss Marvel. We got confirmation on some series with Agatha Harkness and Echo. We didn't get much Star Wars, but hopefully there's going to be a Disney an Investor Day coming up, and we'll get a lot more on that day. But that's it for now. Stick around for Black Comic Universe, which will be starting in just a moment with Iman. And then after that is Minute to Skim It with Miss Jen. Then Kyle and I will be back tonight to talk about books. And just to give you a highlight, some of the books we're talking about are Exo Man of War, Purgatory, the Gru versus Tarzan, or Gru meets Tarzan. That's an insane book. And a few other surprises. So stick around. Stay with the experience all day. It'll be a lot of fun. See you guys tomorrow.